Hello and welcome to Among Realms. Here we're going to do something special. We're going to do a series on the Knights Templar and we're going to break them all down story by story. I've read a lot in the past. There's some in biblical terms, there's some that are just in folklore, and what I've decided to do is to bring them all together so then we can enjoy them all. Hope you enjoy the video and the series. Make sure you subscribe and like so then you can see the next ones as they come out. And yeah, really appreciate the support for the channel so far. It's been brilliant.
In the year 1119, nearly 2 decades after the First Crusade had ended with the capture of Jerusalem, the roads to the Holy City were still treacherous. Pilgrims from Europe traveled thousands of miles to visit the sacred sites where Jesus had walked, prayed, and performed miracles. But the journey was fraught with danger. Bandits, thieves, and enemy soldiers lurked along the way, preying on the vulnerable travelers. Many pilgrims never made it to their destination, their dreams of seeing Jerusalem crushed by violence and betrayal. It was in this time of peril that a French knight named Hugues de Payens decided to take action. Hugues was a man of deep faith, hardened by years of fighting in the Crusades. He had seen the suffering of the pilgrims firsthand, the widows, the orphans, the wounded, and the desperate. He had heard their stories of loss and their cries for help. Hugues believed it was his duty, as a knight and a Christian, to protect them. But he knew he couldn't do it alone. One evening, in the shadow of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, Hugues gathered 8 of his fellow knights. These men, like him, were veterans of the Crusades. They had fought bravely to reclaim Jerusalem, and they had stayed behind to defend the Holy Land. Among them were men like Godfrey de Saint-Omer, André de Montbard, and Payen de Montdidier, warriors of skill and honor. Hugues spoke to them with passion, proposing a bold idea. They would form a brotherhood of warrior monks, dedicated to defending the pilgrims and the Christian faith. The knights were inspired by Hugues's vision. They agreed to take vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience, dedicating their lives to God and the protection of the faithful. They called themselves the Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ and of the Temple of Solomon, or simply the Knights Templar. Their name came from their headquarters, which were located on the Temple Mount, the site of the ancient Jewish temple. It was a place steeped in history and mystery, and the Templars believed it was their sacred duty to guard it. At first, the Templars were a small and humble group. They had no grand castle or wealth, only their swords, their faith, and their determination. They patrolled the roads leading to Jerusalem, escorting pilgrims and fighting off attackers. Their white robes, marked with a red cross, became a symbol of hope for the weary travelers. When pilgrims saw the Templars riding toward them, they knew they were safe. But the Templars' mission was not just about fighting. They also sought to uncover the secrets of the Holy Land. Rumors swirled that beneath the Temple Mount lay ancient treasures, including relics of immense power. Some said the Templars were searching for the Ark of the Covenant, while others whispered of the Holy Grail. Whether these stories were true or not, the Templars' presence on the Temple Mount added to their mystique. They spent hours in prayer and study, seeking to understand the divine mysteries hidden within the sacred site. In 1129, the Templars gained official recognition from the Church at the Council of Troy. With the support of powerful figures like Bernard of Clairvaux, a respected abbot and theologian, the order grew rapidly. Bernard wrote a letter praising the Templars, calling them a new kind of knighthood Unknown to the ages, his endorsement brought them legitimacy and prestige. Knights from across Europe flocked to join their ranks, and donations of land and money poured in. The Templars were no longer just a small band of knights. They were becoming a powerful force. But their beginnings were rooted in that simple, noble goal to protect the pilgrims. Hugues de Payens and his 8 companions had started something far greater than they could have imagined. Their legacy would endure for centuries, inspiring tales of bravery, faith, and mystery. And it all began with a handful of knights, standing together on the Temple Mount, ready to defend the faithful. The first mission, protecting the pilgrims. One of the Templars' earliest missions took place on the road from Jaffa to Jerusalem. A group of pilgrims, including women, children, and elderly travelers, had set out from the coast, hoping to reach the holy city before nightfall. But as they entered a narrow pass in the hills, they were ambushed by a band of robbers. The pilgrims huddled together in fear as the robbers closed in, their weapons glinting in the sunlight. Just as all hope seemed lost, the sound of hoofbeats echoed through the pass. The Templars had arrived. Hugues de Payens led the charge, his sword raised high. The robbers, outnumbered and outmatched, fled into the hills. The pilgrims wept with gratitude as the Templars escorted them safely to Jerusalem. It was a small victory, but it was one that mattered. For Hugues and his knights, it was a reminder of why they had taken their vows. They were not just soldiers, they were vowed,